Sequence activated.
Hey everybody, Game Junkie Super Nintendo Kid here, and today I will be talking about the Curator fight. The Curator fight is fairly simple. He hits for about 3,000 physical damage to a moderately good gear tank like Kara gear and blue gear out of other dungeons. He does an ability called Hateful Bolt, which does 4,000 arcane damage. He has two stages, one in which he spawns flares about every 10 seconds. They will deal about 400 through 700 arcane damage to different people in range, sort of like an AoE. And each one of these flares is going to cost him 10% mana each time. And he also, another ability he has, which is also considered a stage, is Evocate. He regains mana, but he takes 250% extra damage, but he doesn't spawn flares during this stage. Also, he enrages around 10 for 15% health. He will rage. He stops spawning flares, and he also doesn't evocate anymore, and you just gotta burn him down. So, let's talk about positioning. You want to position the Curator near the middle of the room, and you also want to position the raid near the wall that you entered the room, which basically gives enough time for all the melee to pick up the flares. And the flares, if they do get near the healers and casters, they're not going to hurt them that much. They don't do all that much damage, but it's best if the melee just takes them, so none of the healers get hurt or any of that crap happens. You're just better safe than sorry for that one. Let's move on to the flare stage. This is the first of his two stages. In the flare stage, basically what's going to happen is you're going to want the tank to just be gaining aggro. This entire time, no one in the raid should be hitting him during the flare stage. No one touches him, no one even targets him. Well, okay, that's a bad example, but nobody hits him. You can wand for mana, that's a good idea. I always like doing that, so instead of wasting your time wanding the flares, you're actually wanding him for mana. Oh yeah. Other than that, no, you should never be attacking the Curator during the flare stage. In the flare stage, he's going to spawn these flares. He has 100% mana, and each flare will take 10% off that. So he can do a total of 10 flares. Now, each one of these flares are very easy to DPS down, so you don't want to be casting spells that are going to take some time to charge up, like Fireball or maybe Frostbolt. You want to do something like Scorch Spam and Fire Blast. Now, I know that's just coming from a mage's perspective, but that sort of goes for everybody. You want to use instant abilities and not charged ones like Fireball or something that's going to take a while to charge up, and then you'd only get about one attack off on these flares. So eventually, after he has no mana, he's going to evocate. Now, when he evocates, he's going to take up to 250 plus damage, and he's not going to spawn flares, but his mana is going to go up rapidly, so you have a very short amount of time to DPS him down. And you also want to get that last flare, because once that he spawns the last flare with his last 10% mana, he's going to immediately evocate. He's not going to wait for shit. He's not going to wait for anybody. He's going to immediately evocate. So you want to do anything, even if you're a Palm Pyromage. Again, coming from a mage's perspective, you want to just use that to kill that flare. You want to get all the damage you can in during that evocate, because that's going to be your bulk of damage. Also, you should never have to worry about aggro, because the tank has this entire flare stage to be building it all up. So you should never have to be worrying about pulling aggro, even if you're getting like 8 crits in a row, which you can get some pretty insane crits here, which is also pretty fun about this fight, is you can get tons of crits. So let me explain to you how the Hatefuls work. Basically, what's going to happen is, here's how they work. What happens is, is that the Hateful Bolt won't hit the tank. It'll never hit the tank, but it hits the second person, the person who has highest aggro next to the tank, but who has the highest health. So let's say there's me and two other guys, but I have the most health. The other guys have 5,000 HP each, but I have 6,000. But I'm fourth on threat. The tank is first, the other guys are second and third. He's going to hit me because I'm the highest up and have the most health. So they do about 4,000 arcane damage to the guy who's next in line for aggro and also who has the most health. So, I've got that explained. We're coming to the end about this fight, and one more thing I should mention, 10 through 15%, he'll stop doing evocates, stop casting flares, and he will enrage, and he'll hit harder with his hateful bolts, and also harder physical damage. So, good luck on the Curator fight to all who do that, and I'm signing out. See you later.